Aw, hey there, fellow crackhead. Nice gun party you got going on over there. Do you mind if I join in for a little bit? Oh, I've got to bring one. Don't worry about me. I brought my own. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha! What is good with it, filthy, stinky human? It's me, Arrogant Ape, and I'm back. No more head cold. Don't know what that was, but I can tell you that it was back to back tissues. But now that I'm done with that, it's time for an episode of Back to Back Issues. I'm looking at Mike Barron's The Punisher, issues 1 and 2. Um, Mike Barron has a campaign live now called Thin Blue Line, and I'll be honest, I haven't backed it yet. But the trailer mentions this series, so I thought, well, let me get a better feel for Mike Barron by reading this series because I happen to have it in one of my long boxes. I got these from a friend of the family who's unfortunately departed, but I'm really glad I had these copies because, as far as I know, my experience with Mike Barron has been, uh, at least in the independent comic realm, Florida Man and Nexus. Now, Nexus I really enjoyed. That was very fun sci-fi. I feel like it was written very competently, and I didn't know anything about Nexus, so pretty cool jumping on point for me. Florida Man didn't do it. Sorry, just didn't do it for me. Here's the thing: if a horror movie is not scary, it can still be funny. If a drama doesn't grip you, it can still make you laugh. But if a comedy isn't comedic, I don't know what to do with that, you know? And Florida Man just didn't make me laugh. So, yeah, feelings are mixed about Mike Barron's writing. So I was thinking, okay, well, let me look at this series because he mentions it directly in the trailer for Thin Blue Line, which indicates to me, you know, maybe it's going to be written very similarly. Maybe the style he went for in this book, will be communicated similarly in Thin Blue Line. Anyway, I read these first two issues and I think they're fantastic. I mean, seriously incredible. So much so that I think these two issues could be the Punisher story. Not like the Punisher story, but you know what I mean. Not a Punisher story. It's the Punisher story. It's a perfect circle. Everything wraps up nice and clean in the second issue. There's a lot going on with Frank Castle's character. I think it's really cool. Let's take a look inside and see exactly what I'm talking about here. So the story basically is, have you ever read If You Give a Mouse a Cookie? If you haven't, you're either 4 or 90. Basically, in the story, um, this kid gives a mouse a cookie, so it wants a cup of milk, asks for a cup of milk. He gets the milk, but he gets a milk mustache, so he asks for a towel to wipe it off. And when he wipes off his face, he looks in the kitchen or the bathroom mirror and sees that his whiskers are all out of whack, so he needs to trim them. So he asks for a trimmer. Basically, there's one inciting incident that leads to the next and the next and the next and snowballs down from there. This is the Punisher in If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, basically. So Punisher's walking along, and what happens? Well, if you give a Punisher a crackhead, he's going to want to know where the crack came from. And once the Punisher finds the crack house, he's going to want to blow it up with the biggest guns possible. It's pretty dope looking right here. And once he blows the ever loving crud out of this crack house, he's going to want to squeeze another crackhead for more info. Look at this. Uh, Whoosh, boom. Just simple and effective sound effects, great lighting. There is plenty of violence, but it's not gratuitous. And you know me, I love my gratuitous violence. I love my blood and guts. But I feel like this was so tasteful, you know? And the lighting too. The blues and the yellows. It's so cool. This book's really good. Hey, everybody! I just bought the Oreo factory. That's right. I own Oreos. And guess what, Marvel? Everyone's got a price. That's right. Someday, I'm gonna come for you. So yeah, sorry for that quick commercial break. Here we are back to some awesome art. Great action sequences throughout, really. Very effective lighting, blues and yellows, contrasting colors to accentuate the flare of gunfire in the shadows. We've got these sound effects that are simple but effective. Butter, 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 butter. I got butter on my toast. I don't mean to boast. I got tons of butter, butter, butter everywhere. And I'm sorry, that's the lamest thing I've ever done. So, speaking of butter, this guy looks like looks like a pile of melted butter. This dude looks like a half-finished pancake. This panel is the only panel I had any problem with. This guy's face. Boo. Tell me who he is and how we can find him. It's really silly. But yeah, he squeezes him, makes his way to a crack lord. But before he goes on to the crack lord, he actually has a quick flashback to the incident that incited the inciting incident, where he was at the Vietnam Memorial, where he was at the Vietnam Memorial, and he met up with an old army buddy. I think Frank was the army, if I'm not mistaken. And this is the sort of personal Frank Castle story that's interwoven into this action-packed Punisher story. Because what this story is about is Frank Castle's past and his regrets. One of his regrets was not, being a better friend to this guy, not reaching out beforehand, even before, his family got decimated. What we come to find out later is that this character is basically giving him an inside scoop on the crack ring. He kind of tells him that some people are involved that he might actually know, and that's what puts Punisher on their trail. But the Punisher kind of reminisces a bit. This guy, he tells Frank, "Come down to my house sometime. We'll chat. We'll have some dinner, have a good time." Frank says maybe one of these days, and basically, the dude died. It's said that he offed himself, but we can't be too certain of what exactly happened. So this is another aspect of Frank Castle I didn't get to see it. So growing up, the Punisher to me was like the Punisher film, that came out in what was it, like the late 90s, early 2000s, something like that. That was Punisher to me. So to see this sort of like dapper James Bond Punisher, this guy who's infiltrating and, putting on diamond fingernails. Squeak. What's up? I'm the Punisher. My punishment? A quick scratch across the face. It's funny though, even the character recognizes, yeah, cute. This is kind of silly. He uses it later on. I don't know if that makes this decision any better, but whatever, So again, side of Frank Castle, I'm not used to seeing somebody who's suave, talking to ladies, smirking, stuff like that. I'm used to super depressed PTSD, blowing the guts out of people. But yeah, he gets caught. There's a really cool torture scene. Again, fairly simple, not gratuitous, but it's fun. You get to see the Punisher sort of in his element, pushing his own body to the extreme. He induces vomiting so that they kind of let up on him, and that gives him time to snap out of his restraints. Man, this panel's cool. It's so dope. I'm serious. If this book came out this month, if it premiered this month, this same art quality, this same storytelling quality, my faith in Marvel would be renewed. I would start collecting Marvel again because this is really cool. Hey kids, fly high with Rainbow bubble gum. Go fly a kite. Rainbow? What? What? Is there no longer Rainbow? Because I feel like now would be the time for Rainbow. You know, a name like Rainbow, it do pretty well nowadays. What is this ad? Look, look at this. Hey, kids. Hey, gingers specifically. You having a hard time hitting it off with the ladies? Do they think you're a weird, soulless, pimply-faced freak? Why don't you get yourself a model car? Use mustard to put it together. And let me tell you, those 8-year-olds will be swarming you. Chucky Finster, put down the mustard. Stop putting that car together. You don't need to do this, okay? You got a dynamite personality, and someday these ladies are gonna realize it. What, you want these gold diggers surrounding you? Come on. You've got potential. You could go to Harvard. You're gonna settle for what, Blondie over here? She's giving you the eye? Come. So again, we see Frank Castle's personal past interwoven with his Punisher present, right? This is one of his old army mates who was a real bad individual. This story is about two types of regret, specifically from Frank Castle's past. The one being not connecting with the people he liked, right? Not reconnecting with them, not reaching out, being a loner, especially when it turns out it's too late to reach out again because they suicide themselves. The other being the regret of not having plugged a couple of slugs into this dude for the awful stuff that he did during the war. It's, like the Punisher reveals to us in dialogue with the guy that he was selling morphine on the black market. Obviously, Punisher doesn't like drug dealers. He's probably not #crackpack confirmed, and I'm going to let that slide for now. It was the 80s, after all. But anyway, the Punisher's been talking up this character called the General. He's like, I want to see the General. Let me see the General. The General's the guy in charge of the The General is the guy in charge of the large. In charge of the large. Yeah. In charge of the large Rainbow. In charge of the large crack ring. And it turns out this is somebody else from his past who he really wished that he plugged up. Now, what does this do for the Punisher as a character? Well, it reinforces in Frank's own mind, and I don't know if this is stated explicitly in the book, but this is what I got from it. It reinforces in Frank Castle's mind that his lack of action is what led to these awful outcomes, his friend dying, as well as this crack ring coming out of the fold. He knew he should have did these guys in back in Vietnam. He didn't, and for that reason, they've got this crack empire that is actively hurting people, right? So it just reinforces what the Punisher already believes to be true. Really cool dynamic pages once more. Bam. Gotta spread some butter. And, got jungle fights. Everything here in this book is very much reminiscent of Vietnam, and that's very much on purpose. It's very much by design. I don't want to spoil too much. There's basically a lot of action and killing, but it's all very cool. I will say that he does give this dude cat scratch fever. Ah! I think that's probably more shock than pain. He's like, whoa, did another dude just scratch me? I'm out. I'm out of this chopper. So I won't reveal too much more except for this in the very last panel. Spoiler alert, okay? And here it is. It's Frank Castle walking away from the memorial. And he says, I'm sick of the war. I quit. And that's, it's kind of emblematic of who the Punisher is as a character. What war is he talking about? Well, in part, he's talking about Vietnam. The war that's very much a part of his past. Something that's stuck with him to the point that, these people in his past keep coming up and it just kind of haunts him. But also his war against crime to a greater extent, right? His ongoing war. He's tired of it. Doesn't look tired in this picture. This is really cool. I love these covers, man. This is a full circle story. In 2 issues, Mike Baron has told a really compelling story with smooth action set pieces, a plot that develops and builds and accelerates. Mike Baron gave this mouse a cookie and he wanted some milk, and it went from there. This is a really cool read. Now, here's the thing. It says 75 cents here. You can probably get issue 1 in somewhat poor condition for like $8 or $9, but 38 for, very fine or near mint or anything like that. So you can put your money towards that, or you could put your money towards Mike Baron's new campaign, Thin Blue Line. Now that specifically is about officers in the line of duty. So yeah, really cool book. Can't recommend this enough. This put Mike Baron's writing way in the positive for me. It wasn't in the negative before. I just don't know that he can do comedy, but there's some funny bits in here. When it comes to action, pulse pounding, bullet whizzing, butta writing, he's got it. So with that being said, you can get at least issue number 1 in somewhat okay condition for about $8 or $9. You can do that if you like. Alternatively, you can support his current campaign, Thin Blue Line. From what I understand, it's been rejected by a couple of publishers. A couple of news media outlets aren't reporting it. That's what I understand. I can neither confirm nor deny, but I can say that Mike Baron knows how to do pulse pounding, bullet whizzing, butta action. Okay? And I think that's what you'll probably get with Thin Blue Line. Also, from what I understand, I think it's being penciled by a cop. So an actual officer of the law is contributing to this piece of art. So if you like it, go check it out. After reading this, I'm probably going to back it. Just got to wait till payday. Anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. If there's a book you want me to review, either a back issue that I can get relatively cheaply, or a comic, in the indie CG realm that you know that I happen to have, feel free to drop it in the comments here. Anyway, subscribe, like yourself, and subscribe to yourself, buddy. Give yourself a big ol' hug, and have a fantastic day.